Hello and welcome back to this course. In the previous session, we have discussed the basics of C language. In this session, we are going to write our first C code. So let's start. Rules applicable to C program. Now, before we begin with our first C program, do remember the following rules that are applicable to all C programs. Now, each instruction in a C program is written as a separate statement. Therefore, a complete C program would comprise of series of statements. The statements in a program must appear in the same order in which we wish them to be executed, unless, of course, the logic of the problem demands a deliberate jump or transfer of control to a statement, which is out of sequence. Blank spaces may be inserted between two words to improve the readability of the statement. However, no blank spaces are allowed within a variable, constant, or keyword. All statements are entered in small case letters. C has no specific rules for the position at which a statement is to be written. That's why it is often called a free-form language. Every C statement must end with a semicolon. Thus, semicolon acts as a statement terminator. Let's now write down our first C program. It would simply calculate simple interest for a set of values representing principal, number of years, and rate of interest. I hope you remember the formula for calculating the simple interest. That is principal multiplied by number of years multiplied by rate of interest divided by 100. So we are going to write a very first C code to calculate the simple interest. Let's go. Create a folder on your desktop and name it as C programs. We will be storing our all C codes in this folder. Okay. I hope you have installed the code blocks. So this is the code block quick launch icon. Just open the code block. Okay, so this is the startup page of code block. If you see in the editor window of start here, there are various links like create a new project, open an existing project, visit the code block forum, and report a bug or request. Okay, now if you want to create a project, you can simply click on this link, but we are not going to create a project. We are simply creating a C code. So just go to file menu, click on new and empty file. Okay, so basically this is the editor window where we can write our code. So let's start writing the code. If you want, you can add comment by using /star. The very first thing is hash include. Just copy what I'm writing. I'll explain each and every statement that I have used in this code. stdio.h. Next is void main, small brackets open close, start the curly braces and close the curly braces. Hit enter. Now we will define a variable like int e for principal, n for time, semicolon for ending this statement. Next is float r, comma, si. Now r is for the rate of interest and si for simple interest. Now let's take a value for each variable. So p equal to 1000, n equal to 3 and r equal to 8.5. You can again write the comment formula for calculating simple interest. Next is the formula, that is SI equal to P multiplied by N multiplied by R and divided by 100. Okay, and at last we want to print the result. So print F within double quotes %F comma SI. Okay, so we are done with our code. Just go to file, click on save file, go to the desktop where you have created the folder C program, create a new folder and write first code. Okay, open the folder and rename this code like my first code. Don't forget to add .c extension. Okay, now click on save. Fine. Now let's discuss the components of this code one by one. So this is the code. The very first line is hash include stdio.h. Now it's a preprocessor command. That means before executing any code, there is some preprocessor command that instruct the processing unit to add some header files. Now stdio.h is a header files which includes the functions for standard input and output, and include is a keyword that will add this header file in our code. Next is function. Now here we have used a main function. Main is a collective name given to set of statement. Now this name has to be main. main. It cannot be anything else. All statements that belong to main are enclosed within a pair of braces. Now, as you can see, the curly brackets end within these curly braces, all the statements are written. This means that all these statements belong to this main function. So technically speaking, main is a function and every function has a pair of parentheses associated with it. Now, what is function and what's its use? We will discuss in detail in upcoming session. So for now, just remember this is a function that includes some statements to be executed. Okay. Next is variables. So as I already discussed, the variables are the entity that may change during the execution of program. That means the value for P, N, R and SI can be changed during the program. So during the initialization, there are nothing to store, but after that the variables P, N, R are having values like 1000, 3 and 8.5. Next is terminator. Now, as I already said that any C statements always ends with a semicolon. Next is comments. Now, comment should be enclosed within /*/. You can see the formula for simple interest has been enclosed within this. Anything written within /*// is treated as comments. Though comments are not necessary, but it's a good practice to begin a program with a comment indicating the purpose of the program, its author and the date on which the program was written. That means you can add the description of your code, day and date, like for your reference. Any number of comments can be written at any place in the program. Now, this comment can be written anywhere in the code. You can write from the beginning, you can write in the end, or even within the statement and after the statement also. Next is operators. Now, star and slash used in this formula, these are arithmetic operators which are available in C. That means that are used for doing arithmetic calculation. So in C, the arithmetic operators are plus, minus, multiplication and division. We'll discuss all types of operators in the upcoming session. And at last, printf, that is used for displaying output. Now, printf is also a function which is used to display the data on the screen. Very first thing is enclosed in double quote %f. Now, this %f or %d, %c are also there. These are called format specifier. What does this do is, this defines the type of the data to be printed. Like if you see the simple interest, it will give you the value in decimal points. Like it's not a complete integer, it will give you a result in point form. So F stands for float, that means floating point. So %f is a format specifier of float type and SI is the variable that store the value of simple interest. So printf within the bracket %f comma SI will display the output. Okay, I hope the idea of this code is little bit clear. We'll discuss each and everything in details in the upcoming session. So just stay connected. Now next thing is compilation. Get back to the editor window. Now we have saved the code. Now you can go to build, click on build to compile the code. Okay, so here are lot of window and in which there is a build log. So if you click on this build log, you will see the message of compilation. So the process terminated with status 0 minutes 2 seconds. That means the code compiled within 2 seconds and having 0 errors, 0 warning. That means the code compiled successfully and there is no any errors. Once the code compiled successfully, you can go to the folder that we have created for the code and you will see there on compiling the program, its machine language equivalent is stored as an exe file. That is my first code.exe. So this is the executable application that is available after compilation and this will be executed by the processor. Now if we copy this file to another machine, we can execute it there without being required to recompile it. In fact, the other machine did not even have a compiler to be able to execute the file. Click on this play button which is run. So if you click on this button, you will see an output window that will give you the value of SI which is 255. We have successfully write our first C code and it compiled successfully and after running this code it gives you the result within no time. Similarly, in this course we will create a number of codes that will give you the fascinating output. Now let's come back to our discussion. Now in the program discussed, we assumed the value of P, N and R to be 1000, 3 and 8.5. So every time we run the program, program, we would get the same value for simple interest. Now, if you want to calculate simple interest for some other set of values, then we are required to make the relevant changes in the program and again compile and execute it. Thus, the program is not general enough to calculate simple interest for any set of values without being required to make a change in the program. Moreover, if you distribute the exe file of this program to somebody, he would not even be able to make changes in the program. So the next thing we need to learn is how we can receive input from the user. So to make the program general, the program itself should ask the user to supply the value of P, N and R to the keyboard during execution. Now this can be achieved using a function called scanf. This function is a counterpart of printf function. Printf outputs the value to the screen, whereas scanf receives them from the keyboard. Now using this scanf, you can see the modification in the code. The first printf output the message, that is enter values of P and R on the screen. Hence, we have not used any expression in printf, which means that using expression in printf is optional. We can simply display a message also. Note that the ampersand before the variable in the scanf function is a must, because ampersand is an address of operator. It gives the location number used by the variable in memory. When we say ampersand T, we are telling scanf at which memory location should it store the value supplied by the user from the keyboard. Detailed working of this operator will be discussed in future lectures. So now if you run this code, then what happens on executing this code, you will have to enter the value of P, N and R from the keyboard and it will calculate the SI. Okay, so now this is user friendly and you can calculate the simple interest for any set of values. So that's all for this session. In the next session, we will be